Hi, this is Miss Billerbeck, and we're going to talk about 13.1, Organizing Data in Frequency Tables. So data is collected in surveys, observations, experiments, and it's called raw data when we first take it. So patterns are hard to see when it's just raw data. So we use frequency tables to better understand trends or patterns. So columns, in this case, can be, columns or rows can be classes. So in this case, we have the rows are classes, not the columns. So that was silly. So see how I have students that have one cell phone, students that have two cell phones, and students that have 3 cell phones. So those are our classes that we're taking. So those are the rows of classes, okay? But we could have represented it in columns as well. So when we look at this example, we have a PE teacher that has graded 36 scholars and has collected this data, but we can't really determine what the pattern is from this data. One thing we do know, when we create a frequency table, the frequency table should have 36 right here when it adds up. So let's go ahead and tally. So we have B, C, D, A, then B, A, C, and then A, D, F, B, D, B, A, C, then B, D, C, A, then C, F, B, C, then A, D, C, B, B, C, B, D, then A, B, A, B. Okay, so I should have moved my little tick marks over a bit, but that gives me 9, 11, 10, 4, and 2. So I have 10 plus 6 is 16, carry 1 is 36. So that's how I know I got every one of these grades in here. So this helps me to see, oh, very few students actually got a D or an F in PE. Most students got a B in PE, probably forgot to have their PE clothes or something. And 9 students rose to the challenge and got an A. And A's and C's are pretty even as far as that in PE. Okay, so we were able to actually understand the data better when we put it in that frequency chart, eh? Okay, so data represented in intervals like 0 is less than x is less than or equal to 1, or 1 is less than x or is less than or equal to 2, etc. is called grouped data. So we might have a bunch of data in between 0 and 1, and 1 and 2. So this data represents or includes 1. This one does not include 1. So when we group this data, it's called class intervals. So class intervals must not overlap. Like I can't have 1 included in this one and this one. So I have to put the equal bar under here to say 1's included into this, 1 is not included in this, but anything bigger than 1 is in that one. Okay, so a class, oh, we also can't leave out data. So if we have some data that's just unfortunate and it doesn't fit very well, we can't just throw it out very easily. We have to do some very special things in order to leave it out, but generally don't leave out data, okay? So the class width is, well, let's say this was the class width. So I would just say 1 minus 0 is a class width, or 2 minus 1 is a class width. Okay, if all the class widths are equal, the frequency data has a uniform interval, okay, or uniform intervals, because there's going to be multiple intervals. When data only has one variable measured, it's called univariate data. So uni means one, variate means variable, okay? One variation. Okay, numerical data involves quantities that are countable or measurable. Okay, so numbers, numerical, countable, measurable. Categorical data is divided into groups such as gender, age, tests, test grades, etc. Categories, they're in different categories. That's adjective for categories, categorical. All right, so when we look at this example, the following is the price of 24 books. So we know that when we finish this, this should be 24. Okay, so what we're going to do, we have some uniform intervals right here. See how they're all a class width of 10, because it says represent class intervals of the width of 10. So we have 10 here. Okay, so this one does not include 10, but it includes 20. So we need to keep track of that. So let's start tallying up. So we have 23, 47, 32, 45, 30. Now 30 is included in this one and not included in that. 13, 19, 29, 41, 18, 40 is included in this interval and not that one, so we're going to put it right here. 20 is included up here and not down here. 33, 34, 26, 36, 25, 34, 25, 38, 28, 37, 12, and 22. Okay, so let's see if we got everything. So we have 5, 8, 8, and 3. So 13 plus 8 is 21 plus 3 is 24, and we did it. Okay, so now it says find the percentage of books that cost more than $30. Oh, there we go, these two classes. So we have to do 8 plus 3 over the total amount of books, which is 24. So that's 11 over 24. So we're going to do top dog in the house. So 24 goes out here, and our 11 goes right here. All right, so we see that we have about 4 of these. So 4 times 4 is 16, and 96 here. So when we subtract, we borrow. So we have 140, drop a 0 down. That gives me about a 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Subtract, and I get 20, drop a 0 down. And that's going to be about 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. So when we subtract, we get 8. So we're really close to doing that. Now we have to get a percentage. So if you forgot how to do percentage, you take the decimal and you multiply it by 100%. What what that does is it moves the decimal over 2 spots. So we get 45.8%. Now we usually just round that to 46% because 5 or more raise the score. Okay, so that would be the percent of books that are $30 or more. Okay, so we talked about univariate data being one, and now we have bivariate data. So remember, bicycle, bicycle. So 2 wheels on a bicycle. So bivariate means 2 pieces of different variables, or 2 different variables. So when one is an independent variable, and it influences another variable, the other variable is dependent upon that variable. So a two-way frequency table is useful. Is a useful tool for summarizing data on 2 categorical variables and for examining possible associations or patterns between the variables. So if we look at this one, we have different ages, which is one variable. And we have, can they swim or are they unable to swim? Okay, so those are 2 different variables. So if they're 4 or under, 20 of the 4 are under in the group we surveyed, which were 100 people, 20 could swim, but 5 were unable. Then when we look at the group of 25 or greater than 4 years old, 25 people could swim, but 10 people were unable. And then people that were older than 25, 5 could learn to swim, and 35 were unable. So when we add up these columns, we get 25, 35, and 40, and that should add up to 100. And when we add this up, the rows, we get 50 and 50. Okay, so this shows us something very important about swimming. So worldwide, about 50% of the people can swim and 50% cannot. So this means that when we have natural disasters, we may lose a bunch of people just by drowning because they are unable to swim. So that's a problem that we can quickly fix, or easily fix. Maybe not quickly, but we can fix that problem. All right, so example 3, Mr. Sanders asked 25 6th and 25 8th graders about their favorite movies. So A is action, C is comedy, and R is romance. So let's go figure out what we've got here. So for action, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 action lovers in 6th grade. Comedy lovers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, that was pretty equal. And then romance, I should have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, because we only talked to 25 6th graders. Now let's look at the 8th graders. So action, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, then I have comedy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it for comedy, poor comedy. And romance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So that adds up to 25. So we did not miss anybody. That's really how few 8th graders are into comedy, which I was very much into during the shelter in place. Comedy was very much needed then. Okay, so we have 18, 15, 17, and let's see what we've got here. So when we add that all up, we should have 50. Okay. So let's take a look at how another way we could represent this two-way frequency data. Okay, so we just have it numerically there. So now let's take a look at another way we could do it with percentages. Okay, so on this one we have, if we look at the percentage here, we have 18 people who like action. So if we take that, we have 10 divided by 18, and then 8 eighth graders divided by 18, and this should add up to 100%, okay? Because we're doing a relative frequency columns now to get percentages. Okay, so let's figure out what that was. So I have 10 divided by 18, which gives me 56%. And then 8 divided by 18 should be the remainder, 44%. Okay, so comedy, 6th graders, we had 10 over 15. Well, that happens to be 2/3, so that's 67%, because 2/3 is 0.66666, so that rounds to 0.67, and as a percentage, that would be that. So then we have 5 out of 15 8th graders, so that'd be 33%, because that's 1/3, so 33%. And then when we add that up, it should be 100%. Okay, so this last one, we have 5 out of 17 like 6th graders like romance. So we have 29%, and the remainder of the romance column goes to the 8th graders that are starting to like romance. And that is 71%. So then we have a total of 100%. Now this column is a little unusual. So this is, I had 25 6th graders out of 50, so that's 50% of the group. And I had 25 out of 50 8th graders, which is also 50%. So that then adds up to 100%. So I can't add up all this, 56 plus 67 plus 29, that's 152%. Okay, so I can't just add all these up and do that. Okay, so, but if I look at the top, I have 10 plus 10 plus 5 is 25. And remember that this column, 18 plus 15 plus 17 add up to 50. So I add up the tops and the bottoms there, and that's how I get it. I don't add the percentages up. I add 25 6th graders and 50 students total. Okay, so that's how we do this totaling column. Okay, so that's a little confusing, okay, for this column. All right, so that is relative frequency columns right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, if we had rows, we would have done the percentages like that. Okay, so, and this would have equaled 100%, and that would have equaled 100%. And these would have been different from 100% if it was relative frequency rows. Okay, so that's it for section 13.1. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.